Hi, my name is Lindy from Project Portfolio Office, and in this video I'm going to be covering the various data field types that we have in PPO. So these are used to capture different type of information like numbers, percentages, decimals, text, free text, drop-downs, resource list type fields, and so forth. I'll be sharing some guidelines and checks that we have in place for all of the various field types. So you as a PPO administrator, when logged into PPO, you have access to the administration menu, and we simply just click on data fields. That takes me to the data field list page. And for this video, I'm just going to use any unused field just to talk through all of the various types. So I'm going to click into edit the data field. For all of the data fields, we have the ability to apply a caption, the tooltip, place it in a category, which is a grouping for data fields, and then we have the option to select a specific field type. Depending on what field type you select, the options below that differs. If we select the field type of consecutive number, we have an option to select whether it should be applied globally or not. To talk you through that, I'm going to use an example for the sprint entity. So here you can see my sprint number is a consecutive number running 1 through to 7 across various projects. If I did not select the global option, each of these projects would have its own individual consecutive numbers. So Northern Frontier Marketing would have had 1, 2, 3, same with the rest of them. So that's the consecutive number. The second one is a currency type field. Something important to note, we can specify the number of decimals, but the maximum number of decimals is 11. So if I try to submit this as 12 decimals, PPO will say that it can only be between 0 and 11. Where we would use a currency field, as an example, is your cost entity in PPO. So here you can see we've specified 2 decimals. Moving on to the next, our custom list multiple. So we have a multiple and a single select. For the multiple, the example that I'll use is the benefits entity. Benefits could potentially support more than one strategic objective in the organization. So yeah, I have the ability to select more than one value in this custom list. When we look at a single select, the example would be our measure or unit of measure. On our benefits, same with a project can only be in one phase. So there we would also use a single select data field type. For your custom lists, when you select the specific type, you can click on the drop-down to select which custom list this data field should be linked to, and you also have the ability to apply dependencies as well as a default value. Then we've got our date type fields. So for date fields, we can either apply no styling, or we can select highlight upcoming and overdue dates. And further to that, we can also apply filtering to only look at the active records on PPO. We also have the ability to select a default value. So it could be a follow-up date. You might be adding a issue or a risk, and the follow-up date as a default can be set to 7 days from today. For a decimal type field, we also have a max of 11 decimals that we can apply. Then an email address type field is generally used on the resource entity. So I can just demonstrate that. If I just click into one of my resource records, we add an email address, and there is also front-end validation. If it's not a valid email address, PPO will show that message, and then you can just update the email address itself. An entity list, the example that I'm going to use for this is work items and sprints. So you select the entity that you want to link to, and here is our work item list. So on a work item, I have the ability to link my work item to a sprint. So the sprint is an entity type list. Our free text fields doesn't have any character limitations, and it also supports a default value as well as markdown. So an example of that, I'll use my project view. If I just click onto edit mode over here, you can see I have applied some markdown, and using this toggle, PPO will show you how it will be displayed on your list pages, view pages, as well as your reporting outputs. Then our integer type field is for whole numbers. We can also specify a default value. A percentage field, I'll use the project as an example again, where we have our actual planned and variance in terms of our progress. So these are percentage type fields. The program list, again, the example that I will use is on the project entity. So any project in PPO can be linked to a program. So this is a program list field, and the data that it derives from is your program entity as an example. Then we have a project list. I'm going to stick to our project entity. So PPO has functionality for parent projects. So we can also link to a parent project, and this is a project list type field. RAG indicators, generally used on our health indicator entity. You can also set a default. Our project health is also a RAG indicator type field, just calculated. Then we have for resource list type fields, either multiple or a single select. So I'm going to use the risk entity as an example. If I drill into any risk, you'll see that my contact person is a multiple select resource list. So the contact person can be more than one, but the person ultimately responsible for mitigating this risk, you can only select one. So this is a single select. Adding a text type field has a length limitation of 100. So if I select this field, PPO will tell me that it can only be between 1 and 100. A URL type field. Document entity out of the box. So if I were to add or edit a document, I can either drop a physical file or I can paste an external link to our document repository. And then lastly, we have a yes/no type field, which we generally use to mark a project as active or inactive, same on the resources entity. I hope you found this valuable. Thanks for watching.